Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome back to the TheP-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael. Michael, how we doing, man? How we
We're
feeling
doing
after
good,
the
man.
NFL trade deadline?
That was a great one. I cannot lie. That was one of the better trade deadlines we've seen in maybe sports. Well, the baseball one was pretty nuts this year, but definitely one of the crazier NFL trade deadlines we have seen in recent memory. The Eagles kind of got it kicked off with their Michael Carter trade and Jair Alexander, which we talked about, but we did not get a chance to talk about Jalen Phillips, which that's where we'll start today. But that's where it all really got kicked off, and then lot of pretty solidly big names, some very big names got moved. I don't think anyone that got moved, we think of as who are they? Sometimes that can kind of happen, but a lot of solid names got moved, a lot of high level talent players got moved. So a lot to talk about as far as the trade deadline goes, and then we'll hop into the recap. Um, we'll hop into the recap, talk about the games, and then pick Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so why don't we just kind of jump into the NFL trade deadline? Like you
Let's start
mentioned,
with
Jalen Phillips.
Phillips. Yeah.
Yeah, the Eagles traded a third-round pick, their third-round pick, not the Jets' third-round pick. My browser's
Mm.
acting up, dude, so I can't let me try it now. Okay, maybe this will work now. Okay, now it's working for me.
Cool.
We had some technical difficulties before we hopped
Yeah.
on the show here. So the Eagles traded their third round pick, which projects to be towards the back end of the third round.
hmm
Um,
Obviously, as
and
opposed to the, like you said, Jets' third round pick. That was probably when the story came out. The report came out that the Dolphins were seeking a third round pick for Jalen Phillips, and we knew the Eagles were calling at that point. We knew the holdup was probably the Dolphins trying to grab the Jets' third round pick and the Eagles being hell bent on not giving that up, as obviously with especially the moves the Jets have made. Um, that is poised to be really a top five pick. And a top five pick in the third round is quite valuable as opposed to a bottom five pick in the third round, which is what the Eagles will likely be.
yeah, I mean, I would say honestly, like I would say that just in general, like pass rush right now is like at a premium, and Jalen Phillips was probably the best edge rusher that was realistically available. Like I know Myles Garrett's name was bantied around. Realistically, he was not
Yeah, but
going to
Phillips
be
was,
moved. If
yeah.
he's not going to get moved mid-season, if he's going to get moved, it would be in the off season, not mid-season. Eagles reportedly offered 3 first-round picks, and the Browns were just scared to do it. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it just was all. I think it was mostly a nothing burger. Um, but yeah, as far as Jalen Phillips goes, and his fit on the Eagles, I think he'll fit in greatly. We know he was with Vic Fangio a few years ago, and when Vic wants a guy, likes a guy, he usually kind of gets what he wants. If all the player additions they've had over the last couple of years on the defensive side has really been perfect fits for his scheme and all that sort of stuff. And Jalen Phillips is no exception. Sack numbers aren't there yet, but really, as the last like 5 weeks or so, has been very, very good with his pressure, his pass rush win rate, pressure rate, all those sort of encouraging stats. And with Brandon Graham coming back and Nolan Smith coming back, the Eagles' edge unit is definitely getting a nice bump with
yeah,
Jalen
yeah.
playing
The
well.
Eagles' edge unit's interesting, where they don't really have a standout edge rusher, but they have a lot of depth. So
Right.
they're gonna throw they're gonna rotate their edges in and out, and you saw
Mhm.
a lot of their issues was due to lack of depth. Like when they played the
Patrick
Giants,
Johnson getting a lot of
yes,
reps out there.
yeah, Patrick Johnson, who
He's the biggest defender, honestly, in terms of just getting a lot of edge reps that probably doesn't deserve it. Because I felt that Uche's been pretty good. Ojulari was pretty good in his very short stint before he got hurt. Um, Jalix Hunt has definitely gotten better as the season's gone along. It's just one of those things that it'll be nice to have guys that we feel are quick enough and strong enough to also help with the run game because that's where they've been getting mostly thrashed in the run game is along the edges. So getting some bigger bodies out there too will help, should help out the general front four, but
I
also the
do
run
find,
defense
yes,
too.
and I find it very it's very good for the Eagles that they're getting all these guys back from injury. Like 2 weeks ago, 2 games ago, they got N'Kobe Dean back. He's obviously made an impact.
Hmm.
They're going to get Nolan Smith back. They have added Jalen Phillips. Brandon Graham is coming back. Funny, I feel like even if Brandon Graham is just the vibes guy, just the vibes, the
He'll get
vibes
like
on
few
Sunday against the
reps.
Giants, the vibes against the Giants, it just felt better. Like I don't know, like he just kind of
Yeah, I
helps.
agree. I think he helps leadership culture stuff. Maybe not as big as he used to be in terms of a voice in that locker room, but still very helpful. And in few limited reps can definitely be, I think, useful. I don't think he's totally washed. I think if he was, he wouldn't feel comfortable coming back and playing. I'll be honest. I don't think he's coming back to play if he's going to suck. So I'm expecting just that edge unit to really round out. So that got the trade deadline really underway. The next move we have here is the Baltimore Ravens acquiring also edge rusher Draymond Jones for a conditional fifth that can turn into a fourth from the Tennessee Titans or for with the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, so this is a similar move to the Eagles. Obviously, the Ravens defense is in a lot bigger ruins than the Eagles, that is, and they really struggle rushing the passer. They get very, very little pressure, especially from the edges. And with Matabike being out for the season, this is definitely a nice supplement to help bolster
Yeah,
that
and I
unit
think
up a little
honestly,
bit.
look at how easy the Ravens' schedule is for the next several weeks, and the fact that now the Kyle Hamilton's back, Roquan Smith is he's healthy, and now they added Draymond Jones. Like the Ravens, a lot of people I think are expecting the Ravens to actually make a run. And listen, we
Me too,
know.
man. I would feel comfortable picking them to win the division, you know, at this point.
Well, I think the Steelers beating the Colts really threw. That's the
They're a
thing.
bit of a wrench,
That's
but
the
they're
thing is
still
that the Ravens are probably going to win 10 games. Realistically, they will drop a game or two before the end of the year.
we'll see,
I,
man. I'm intrigued regardless. I do think this is a nice addition for them, Draymond Jones. It's
I
not a ton of
agree.
stuff. He's a few years removed from some of his best play. But still is just a bolster to what they've had.
Yeah,
Then the first of two Jerry Jones earth-shattering trades that were made. Um, they acquire Logan Wilson for a seventh round pick from the Cincinnati Bengals. Logan Wilson, the Bengals' leading tackler for the worst tackling team in the NFL. The top three players in missed tackles all are starters on the Bengals defense. Um, a bad defense got worse, and a bad defense also got marginally better. It will definitely help, I guess, but it did feel like after they got embarrassed by the Cardinals on Monday Night Football for the most part. Not saying totally abandon everything you had in mind, but I don't think a seventh rounder for Logan Wilson was really necessary, if that makes sense. I mean, I guess he's under contract, but he's under contract for a couple
that's a
years. I
reclamation
guess that's
project for the
fine.
Cowboys. I mean, in all
His
honesty,
salary does kick next year though. It jumps from like 2.6 million to 6 million. That's not like a super, you know, frugal spending for an okay linebacker. But
Yeah,
regardless.
that's a good way to say he's an okay linebacker. He's probably in a god awful scheme. But here's the thing, though, too. Do you just want to talk about the Quinn Williams trade right after this, since it is the Cowboys too?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. Quinnen Williams
So
also
let's
got moved to the Cowboys.
right, Quinn Williams actually a very good player, right?
Yeah.
A borderline elite player at his position at D tackle.
Pass rush numbers have fallen off over the last few years, but still providing good production, that's for sure.
Yes, and here's the thing, though, is from the
His contract
Cowboys.
kicks too.
So this is basically the Cowboys took 2 steps forward and took 2 steps back. I think at the same time with the Quinn and Williams trade. So I'll
Right.
kind of explain that. Does he improve their defense? Like, of course he does, Michael. Their defense is shambolic. You
It's very
asked me
bad.
today, is it the worst of all time or one of the worst defenses you've ever seen? Michael, it is one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. And we'll get to what I think is the worst defense I've seen in an extremely long time. When we break down the game week, we break down week 9. Here's the thing though. The Cowboys like rush defense to me isn't like their weakness. It's the
I mean,
fact
it's
that
not good.
it's not good. Their weakness is they can't rush the quarterback and their corners are bad.
Right.
Like you saw Marvin Harrison Jr. just do a little shimmy and Deron Bland like basically shattered his ankles on that play. Like
The Cowboys give up. I mean, they're 29th in the NFL in run defense. Granted, the Bengals are 32nd and not even remotely close to anyone else, but I mean, 29th is pretty bad. But they're also it's just like truly they're just so bad both both ways because they're also 30th in the NFL in pass defense. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. There's just no other way to slice it. It's very, very bad. Um, and like they got two nice players, but as a whole, getting Quinn and Williams, trading your first that could is potentially from the Micah Parsons trade, and then a second which is from the Micah Parsons trade, correct? Like you turn Micah Parsons into Quinn and Williams, and then like kind of lost out on the draft capital. I don't know. It just if you wanted to have a premier defensive lineman that's going to cost you a lot of money, you might as well have taken one that's one of the best in the league, as opposed to one that's like, oh, that's a pretty nice player that'll help. And like I know Kenny Clark too, so you really revitalize the inside part of that D line, but your edges are still bad, and you, those two
the
guys
Packers'
don't
first
combine
round
for
pick
the
like,
impact
is
of
going to
Micah
be in
Parsons.
the Packers' first round picks are going to be probably in the 20s. And listen, like this is what I don't get is that the Cowboys realistically in this upcoming draft, we don't really know who's going to be in the top 10, right? Yet.
Yeah,
But the Cowboys defense is so bad, Michael. Like let's say they picked like 13th in the upcoming draft. I think Caleb Downs is going to be an elite safety, right? They are pathetic at safety. Let's say there
yeah,
isn't. Let's say there isn't an edge. Let's say Caleb Downs is the best guy on the board. Well, now you just missed out on that, right? If you're the Cowboys, and there's another thing
next
too is
year,
that
yeah,
next year, right? The cat like Javonte Williams, like he's having a really good season. I think in part because of their offensive coordinator. I forget his name, but he came from the Cardinals. He was the
he was
reason
their
why,
offensive line coach in
right?
Arizona.
And the Dallas run game's cooking. Like they're probably going to draft a running back in the first. They'll probably take Jeremiah Love in the first round.
Maybe, I mean that would be pretty on brand. I mean their offense is just not the problem. The offensive line could definitely be better, but they're not having a ton of problems putting up points. and like Russell Wilson put up 40. What's Russell Wilson up to these days? You know what I mean? Like they truly they're giving the Cardinals confidence to put Kyler Murray on IR in like a he's hurt, but like we just don't really want him to
Soft
play
bench.
sort of way. Yeah, like Jacoby Brissett got that trust after his performance 2 days ago in your stadium. It's they're terrible. They're terrible defensively. They're so, so bad that you really need all the help you can get back there, and further pushing the envelope on, like, your offense as opposed to just kinda letting that cook until your defense is respectable. I just don't I just don't understand. They're really, like, Bengals light, but also better. I don't know. They're so weird. Like, they're just the Bengals. They're the NFC Bengals.
Yeah, let's talk about two more trades that don't involve the Cowboys. Then we'll move over to breaking the games down from the past week. There's another this trade. I think this is a good trade for a red hot football team. The Seattle Seahawks acquired Rashid Shaheed from the New Orleans
Awesome
Saints,
trade.
who, listen, man, I
In
was kind
terms of,
of,
like, a specialist guy, in terms of, like, his play style, he's one of the best deep threats in the league,
you
easily.
know who he kind of reminds me of, because I mentioned like his in terms of like his role. Remember when Devery Henderson was on the Saints with
That
Drew
might be a
Brees?
little before my time.
He would just stretch the field for their offense.
Right.
I kind of feel like that's what he's gonna do, like for the Seahawks. Like obviously, like I have JSN in fantasy. He's still going to receive 15 targets a game.
Absolutely, no,
The
it's
difference
it's gonna
is,
it's gonna help, dude, it's gonna help him a lot.
and Clint Kubiak used to coach in New Orleans when Rashid Shaheed was there. It's the
Broke out,
same team.
really. It's when he broke out, you know, a couple years ago.
So, kind of putting two and two together, the Seahawks, which we'll talk about them more in detail in a little bit, I think they're the best team in the NFC West.
The Rams are still really good. I think that's gonna be
But
a slugfest for those 2 teams.
I do think it's a slut, but I feel like, I don't know, like the Seahawks.
They've played some bad offensive games this year. Darnold's been awesome, but they struggle running the ball. They really do. And, I'm not saying to never run it because their pass game is heavily play action oriented and they throw a lot out of their heavy sets and whatnot. But their passing game is their bread and butter, and this is only going to help it a lot. Um, yeah, we'll talk about more about the Seahawks later, but Rashid Shaheed's going to really help stretch things and open things up for JSN on like those deep digs and those over routes while he's clearing out, grabbing safeties and bringing them up. So yeah, I think this is a great, great trade for the Seahawks. One more receiver got moved. Uh, Jacoby Myers got traded to the Jaguars for a fourth and a sixth as well, or not as well. Rashid Shaheed was a fourth and a fifth. Myers netted a fourth and a sixth from Jacksonville. He requested a trade before the season started, wasn't granted. Started off the year really, really hot, and then as the weeks have gone on, less and less. And the Jags, for what we thought was going to be like a pretty good, pretty scary, pretty dynamic receiver room, has been anything but. Brian
mm,
Thomas still does not look like anything like himself. Obviously, Travis Hunter just got hurt, and he really wasn't involved before that, anyways. De'Ami Brown has not looked nearly as good as he did last year. And, you know, with Lawrence's inconsistencies, you need to, get everything you can. And when they drop the amount of passes that they drop on top of
Michael,
the
you're
quarterback
breaking
being a
up
little,
in and out.
am I breaking in and out? Where did you lose me?
Keep talking.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, you're just
with the
freezing up every 3 seconds, 5 seconds. Yeah.
really okay.
Uh huh.
Let me try better.
You're still
Better at
kind of
all?
frozen, man. Sorry.
Ugh. Hold on.
Here, why don't you hop out and then rejoin?
Any better?
Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay, that works. No, no, you're fine. You haven't frozen up yet. Oh.
This. Any better?
Okay. That
Okay.
seems better. Okay, good.
Okay. So yeah, the Jags needed a reliable receiver. They got one. Um, you know, their drops have been killing them. So
Yeah, when the GM says his superpower is he doesn't drop passes, that you don't want to say he's taking a shot at BTJ, but in a
it's
way,
the whole
it's
receiver room. It's not just him. It's the team leads the league in
well,
drops, I
I'm
think.
thinking like the Jacoby Myers is going to be like the Chris Godwin in that Jags offense, where Godwin's just so good at just catching everything possibly thrown his way.
Yeah.
They kind of have similar skill sets.
Cooper Cup too. Think about Cooper Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a
Not
good
as
pick
shifty,
for
but
Jag.
yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a good one. So
All right,
the
let's
big
talk about the
trade, the
big one.
biggest trade. Yeah. Sauce Gardner traded to the Indianapolis Colts, the top of the AFC. Indianapolis Colts coming off a loss.
Team with
Their
the
big
best record in
weakness,
football.
yeah, their biggest weakness defensively was definitely the cornerback position, and they addressed it in a big way, trading 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell, um, with 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell to the New York Jets for Sauce Gardner. So, we knew that Adonai Mitchell had been getting phased out after his debacle against the Rams with the drop touchdown and then the
Well, they
holding
also
penalty.
have Michael Pittman's bounce back. Josh Downs is one of the
Oh,
most
yeah,
underrated
he
players
saw
in
Alec
football.
Pierce, and then Tyler Warren's been awesome. So, he's seen less and less target shares and stuff. Jets could use help out in some receiver room, and they got 2 first-round picks for him. I'm seeing pretty reactionary stuff to both sides. A lot of people applauding the Colts for going all in, being a contender, taking advantage of the good start that you're having. And then I see the Jets side of it. I'm seeing two different sides of, this is a solid move. Maybe he's a little overrated. And, for the
Oh
direction
no,
this
Michael,
team's
you
heading,
froze up.
maybe huh, nothing better. Anything? Can you hear me?
Yeah, something wrong with the Wi-Fi.
Seems like it.
You're
You
able to
keep
do the
talking about Sauce Gardner.
pod
I'll
on your
figure this out.
phone. We could do the pod on your phone, if possible.
That's what I'm on right now.
Oh, are you on the Wi-Fi in your room? Do you get like good reception with your phone?
I mean, usually I do, but
You froze up again. Do you want to try maybe just doing it on your like, yeah, 4G, 5G on your phone? Yeah, so we're gonna just I'm just gonna he's Michael's texting me right now. He's gonna try to get his things restarted here. Yeah, so he's like talk about Sauce. Yeah, I would just say with this move, Sauce Gardner is a very interesting player. I feel like in 2022 and 2023 he was obviously one of the best corners in football, and he still is one of the best, but he's not like a top three corner. And I think part of it is just due to the Jets' just incompetence. I would say on defense, especially this year. Um, there's been a lot of talk about Aaron Glenn and his scheme, and a lot of the guys not fitting it, and whether he's not catering his system to their strengths versus him just having a rigid system. And they're just guys are just struggling there. Plus, like most of the players there, they're just not. They just don't want to be on the Jets anymore because they're just face it. They're a very incompetent organization. I think Woody Johnson making his comments about Justin Fields and kind of complaining about how bad they are. Like the vibes there are just terrible. So I do think that him going to the Colts, it kind of reminds me a little bit of when the Rams went out and acquired Jalen Ramsey from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Um, they won the Super Bowl when they acquired him. Now, are the Colts going to win the Super Bowl? Like, I don't know. Their quarterback is Daniel Jones. The quarterback on the Rams was Matthew Stafford, two totally different guys. But we'll see kind of how that trade plays out, as the season goes on. The Colts' biggest weakness was their secondary, particularly their pass defense. And in theory, Sauce Gardner greatly improves that room. Okay, I just
You
talked about Sauce.
all right? Are we better? Are we good?
You seem better.
God, I had
Just got
to
a text message so it said John might need a call or I'm driving home.
I restarted my computer, my God. But anyways, I think we're good.
Okay.
Let's get into the games. Let's start us off with um
Woof.
go ahead. I lost the schedule in front of me.
All right. So first game, the Chicago Bears and the
Oh boy.
Cincinnati Bengals. The one of the crazy that was Michael. That was one of the craziest games I've ever watched in my life. Like that was the fact that the Bears coughed up the lead. The Bengals got an onside kick that would, if it wasn't touched, would have drawn a penalty. They would have. The game ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was.
Truly something.
I texted my buddy Chris. I said, "Are the Bears about to unlock a new humiliation ritual?" And I
Oh,
texted you. I said, "This is worse than the Hail Mary, right? If the Bears lose this game."
yes, it would have been. It, they won the game. All that matters. I guess. I don't know. Their defense is very, very bad. Their offense is pretty solid-ish. I don't know. Caleb tends to really only grade out well against bad defenses, but if you watch the game, you see some flashes pretty much every week that I do think there's a good quarterback in there, a consistent one as well. I just think that
Dude, this
it's
is
going
true
to
this
take some
year.
time.
Whatever the hell they did last year, that doesn't count, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't. But like this year, still, it's a little up and down. But listen, he got the job done. That was a
He's
great
certainly in a
throw to
better
Loveland.
position than another quarterback that was drafted ahead of him right now, I'll say.
Ooh.
Circumstantially, Jaden Daniels.
Oh, not ahead of him, behind him.
Behind him, he's in a better spot, I think, to
Oh,
succeed.
sure. Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that team. But the Bengals makes you scratch your head at Joe Burrow a little bit. If Flacco can throw for 470 against not a great defense, like it just makes you think. It just makes you think. I'm seeing some mock trades that maybe the Jets just acquired 5 first round picks and 4 second round picks that maybe, just maybe, who knows? But Bears, they're going to be in the running for that 7 seed, likely with the 49ers, and it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be ugly. And they got some tough games ahead that if they can keep eking out some wins, there could be some. There could be a Caleb Williams playoff game on the horizon, but
Yeah,
until
potential
that point,
7 seed, depending on really what happens to, I think, the Niners or Green Bay.
right?
I mean, I think the Falcons are pretty much not going to make the playoffs. I would think
No, I'd
pretty
venture to
safe,
say they're cooked.
pretty safe to say that. I don't think Carolina makes the playoffs. I think they finish with
No,
I think they
but they
finished with
could
8 or
be
9 wins.
frisky. They could be frisky and be annoying, but
Wow.
yeah, Bears just got to keep stacking wins. Another fringe playoff team against the team that we think should definitely be making the playoffs. The Vikings took down the Lions in Detroit. JJ McCarthy came back. Uh,
I'm laughing because you
I
texted.
guess his aura.
I'm driving home from work. You're like, "Can I say JJ is bad?" And I'm like, "It was his third career start." Like,
I think I'm
no.
just getting a little annoyed at all the like aura glazing clips of JJ McCarthy where it's like, oh look, he's got that. He's a psycho. He's crazy. And I'm like, this is so fake. This is so fake. Um, it's not real, and he's also not that good. Like they're all saying, oh, everyone would want to play with you, whatever. And it's like, obviously Wentz was terrible, but like he's not largely better than Wentz at this point. Maybe he doesn't take as many negative plays, but he really doesn't bring a ton of positives. The few wins that he has, he plays like garbage, and then he puts together a couple drives, and all everyone's like, "Oh, it's great." And like, sure, they can have all that, but man, the Lions have an issue, and it is with their interior offensive line is very bad. Ragnow retiring really screwed things up. They have some injuries up there. They were getting abused up the middle, and I don't know if you
Wait,
agree
you mean
with
to
me,
tell me when
but
your offensive line's injured and it's hard to run the ball? Gosh,
yeah,
where have
no.
we seen
And
this?
you tell me if I'm crazy, but does Jared Goff look slower? Did he age a little bit? Because when Goff deals with pressure well, it's because the pressure comes off the edges and he can step up in the pocket and deliver a throw because he's so tall and everything's good. And he's got decent presence with that. But when pressure comes right up the middle, right in his face, he cannot run laterally to escape it for the life of him. It's like 2 steps and he's just kind of falling over. It's really,
Yeah,
really a
well,
shame.
you know my comp with Jared Goff, right? What kind of his
What's
style,
your
or my comp, like my kind of like how I explain how he plays. I think within the first 3 seconds of a play, he's a top 5 quarterback. After that 3 seconds are up, he is a bottom 5 quarterback.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree. It's truly it's got feet. Like we've been so spoiled really since Wentz, I'll say, with having a quarterback that can usually escape that first pressure, that little ounce of pressure and still do something decent, even if it's just running. And then Jalen especially able to get away from pressure and use his legs to gain a little bit of something or at least throw it away to avoid sacks sometimes. But to have a quarterback that really just can't move, and their reliance of escaping a sack is just quickly getting rid of the ball immediately. It's definitely got to be frustrating. The Lions, they're still a good team in there, but they're very bad on third down. I was looking at some third down stats offensively. Last year, their third down conversion rate was up at 46%, would have been the top of the league. This year, they're 25th in the NFL, down at 36%. A 10% drop off is pretty massive. The Eagles have seen one similar, and we know how frustrating they've been on third down this year. And the Lions are pretty much just as bad. They're a little bit better, but just as bad in an overall look from it. And when they're not breaking your back by picking up those 3rd and 8s on those dig routes because they're running a bunch of screens and stuff, it definitely makes them a little less intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like
And
the
their struggles running the ball leads to that too. They're not getting as
I mean,
many yards
also
in first
too,
and
I
second
think
down.
really starting to see like the warts of, especially on offense, with their Johnny Morton just not being Ben Johnson, where you see all their
Yeah.
fans are crying about We don't know how to get Jamison Williams involved. We traded like 2 third-round picks to move up to draft Isaac Tesla, and we don't use him. It
He
sounds like
barely, yeah,
it sounds a lot like the 2023 Eagles from the perspective that they're just spamming the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're getting Sam Laporta more involved compared to last year, but they're just not as good as they were. And you can just kind of tell that, like, anytime they play a team that's good, they just don't, they can't beat, there's no confidence that they can,
right,
you know,
right,
win confidently, or
yeah,
like, okay, the Lions can win this game. Now granted, like, here's the thing though too, they've dominated the Vikings since the last couple years. Were the Vikings due to win a game? I would say they have been, especially with how bad they were when Carson was playing. But I do
yeah,
think though, from as a defense, like you just brought up JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy was like semi soft benched, where they would rather play a one armed man for 2 games than risk precious little JJ McCarthy with, a, slightly bum ankle.
right. No, for sure. I get want to take care of your young guys, but Wentz was very, very injured. But yeah, so both those teams have some work to do if they want to get where they want to be. This
Assume
this
the
next
upset of the
NFC
week.
North team is also a team that needs to figure their stuff out because they play very immaturely. The Green Bay Packers losing at home against the Carolina Panthers 16-13. Not converting some fourth downs, some drops, some bad decisions, and this is what you end up with. I mean, the Panthers did not play particularly well at all and still managed to squeak out a win. Packers still continuing to play Brandon McManus despite just coming back from injury and not being good even before that and being worse after that. And having a kicker on the roster that was making 60-yard field goals and was looking great. It's just really confusing there. The kicks are legitimately costing them games now. Reminds me a lot of like what Tucker was doing for the Ravens last year, where the Ravens had all these great rate stats and all these great EPA stats, but they would be losing some brutal games, and you'd look and be like, "Dude, Justin Tucker missed a field goal and 2 extra points today," and it's like that kills you. It happened against the Eagles, it happened against the Raiders last year for Baltimore. So they've been, on a bad end of it. Now you're seeing at Green Bay the last couple weeks they've lost. Well, their 2 losses to Carolina and Green Bay would be non-existent if their kicker was making not Green Bay, Cleveland would be non-existent if McManus was making kicks. So there's a lot of reasons for for me to believe that the Packers offense will be continuing to succeed, after a down week, but defensively, it seems like it's hit or miss, and if the special teams are gonna be that bad, it's gonna really hurt you against good teams.
The Packers, realistically, Michael, if you really look at the Packers, like how they've been so far this year, like they start off looking really good, and then they lose to the Browns. And ever since then, they just haven't been impressive. Lost,
I
tied,
thought the Steelers one was pretty solid, I'd say.
tied the Cowboys. Bengals game was ugly. Bowling shoe
Yeah.
ugly. Cardinals game again
Tight,
tight. Jacoby Brissett made his first start. The Cardinals were also like super injured.
reeling. Yeah.
Yes. Steelers, I mean, like, come on, man. It's the
It was
Steelers.
it was a good win, but,
Like,
I
they're
get it.
not, they really haven't, like, the Packers to me are like an 11-win team that can win a playoff game, who I just don't have confidence in them making a deep playoff run unless they somehow magically figure out. I think here's the thing with the Packers. They made their big trade was already made by adding Micah Parsons before the start of the season. And the issue though with Green Bay is their offense, they don't really have a go-to guy. And now that Tucker Kraft is done for the season, Tucker Kraft, who is like he's like the Travis Kelsey to like Jordan Love's like Patrick Mahomes. Like that's his like go-to guy, right?
Yeah, he
He's
was
now
making a
done,
legitimate tight end one argument for sure.
he's done for the season, and now it's like
And he's a great blocker too, man. Like their running game has struggled this year.
and
3.9
they're
yards a
and the
carry
Packers are
for
just a
Jacobs.
mentally soft team where an
Yeah.
injury like that could like screw them up so mentally where they're like they like if they when they play the Eagles are underdogs Monday night. They are 2.5. They open up at 2.5 point underdogs, and a lot of people just hate the Eagles. So I think it's gonna be like even once we get to game time for that. Like I could see honestly, I could see the Eagles. Actually, now a lot of people are just heavily betting the Eagles. Now I don't. Now it's like, oh, I don't know, but we'll see when we talk about it this weekend. But like Michael, like they should not have lost this game to
No,
Carolina.
I mean you texted me and or you said on the show and I was like so dismissive of it because I was like, they're just not gonna lose. And you were like, if they lose to the Carolina Panthers, it is going to be a very, very ugly week for them and an ugly look for them. And it was. They lost and like they lost they lost in a really weird way. And I think it's a problem with their team where it's like Jordan Love didn't play amazing at all, didn't play super well, but he didn't you look at some of the numbers that he didn't play horribly. Like, it wasn't the one of the worst games of his career, wasn't a bad like, they missed kicks that would've won them the game.
How many kicks
They
did they
got
miss? They missed the extra point
they
and
missed
a
an
field
extra
goal.
point, and they missed a field goal. I mean, that's
Well,
simply
the Panthers also missed a field goal, and they also
well, they missed the
Bryce
extra
Young
point, not
had
a
a
field goal.
Bryce Young had a god awful turnover in the red zone, and he almost had two.
Well, that's my point. It's like the Panthers were not a good team, and the Packers put up weird, good underlying offensive numbers, but just didn't put up
The
points.
Packers played down to the Panthers level, in my opinion.
They did, and they try to run the ball too much. They really Jordan Love is like top 5 in a lot of EPA stats and success rates, and it's like they're 2nd in like passing EPA, but they're 20th in pass rate, and then they're like 2nd in run rate, but they're or like 5th in run rate, but they're like 18th in like
Yeah,
run EPA.
That's Matt LaFleur's. That's just his offense. Remember when Aaron Rodgers was like putting up like these hyper efficient numbers near the end of his Packer tenure, and we were like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god, he got an MVP," but he really didn't throw the ball a whole lot.
yeah.
That's
In comparison, it's just
that's just
it's something
Lafleur's
they need to get
offense.
better with. Yeah.
That's Lafleur's offense. He doesn't like want his quarterback to let it rip.
Right, which, questionable. I think they're gonna have to let it rip against the Eagles if they wanna win. This next game, the biggest storyline here, Chargers winning a close-ish win against the Titans. The biggest storyline here is that Joe Alt, got injured and is out for the season. We've talked about it the last few weeks, is that he is like their Lane Johnson, where when he's out, things just do not look as good, and he's gonna be out for the rest of the year. They were really, really good before with him. He got hurt, and things started going south very quickly for the Chargers. And he got better, and they had their best game of the year, best win of the year, best biggest blowout. Been playing better, and they were, you know, him getting hurt just totally. I think does a lot to potentially sink their whole season. They're going to be somewhere around like 9, 10 wins probably by the end of it, but I just don't it's just so hard to play without your 2 tackles, and, we saw how much it was hurting them earlier. I think they did make a trade, they did get Trevor Penning, which is like a "we need to do something" kind of move because he's not very good at all, but it's just a body, I guess. We'll see. Not super optimistic for the Chargers' outlook the rest of the year, to be honest, with that injury,
Yeah,
which is
and
a shame.
honestly, for the Titans, they had a pick six on Herbert, and then the punt return, and they still
Yeah,
lost. Yeah,
and
man, I
yeah,
do think though
it
with the
didn't feel
Titans,
close either too, even though they
I
only
do
lost
think
by a
with the Titans, I
touchdown.
think they'll win one or two more games, probably near the end of the year.
Yeah.
And like it's a shame because I feel like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is better than Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart just has a if this makes any sense, he's in a better spot situation.
He's totally in a better situation than the Titans,
Like
for
the Titans
sure.
are like the worst situation I think in football.
For a quarterback, yeah, I agree. Next game, kickers missing kicks, man. The Falcons lose 24-23 after scoring what should have been the game time touchdown because of a missed extra point. Drake May continues his strong start to the season. Drake London was ridiculously good in his return from injury, 3 touchdowns, taking over the game. Penix was finding them. Things were looking a little bit better. Bijan really did not get going at all. Um, and New England squeaks out another tight win, and the Falcons just continue to show that they're not that serious. Feels like they should be a lot more serious, but due to some not great quarterback play and questionable coaching decisions pretty consistently, this is just what they're going to be. Like they're going to be in games they should probably win more that they do, but ultimately they're not good enough to actually be a
The
serious threat.
Falcons definitely look like the team that's going to be like the Falcons are like the team.
They're like that random Jets team every like 5 years that wins 7 games. That is
I was
like,
going to say
oh, the
like
Jets,
the Jets are like the team. The Jets and
like the Ryan Fitzpatrick Jets. You know what I mean?
no, like the Falcons to me, I just think Raheem Morris is like more. It should just be a defensive coordinator,
Yeah,
and like Zach Robinson is probably like the most overhyped offensive coordinator hire we've seen in recent memory. Where people talked about this guy like he was gonna be like, oh, this guy's gonna be a head coach so soon. And you look at that
yeah,
Falcon offense, like I don't know, like they just don't like they don't use Bijan right. They don't it's like and when you watch it it's like they're literally like it's like one of those guys on TikTok that just breaks down football film who's like 25 years old is given an NFL offense with like real weapons on it
yeah, yeah.
and it's
It's
like
just
it's just so it's like when I watch their offense I cringe. It's
yeah,
so cringy.
and Penix is just very sloppy at times, and it
I think
hurts.
that's the coaching, Michael. That's the issue.
He needs like great coaching to be solid. I think he could be, you know, he could just be a little bit better. I don't know. He could be where like Bo Nix might be, where like you know Mac Jones, like the way Mac Jones looks. I feel like Michael Penix could
Look, if
look
Kevin
similar to that.
Stefanski got fired from the Browns, he would be good for the Falcons, I think.
I think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Uh, Next game we have the Niners and the Giants. The Niners, they felt pretty comfortable despite it being a 10-point game. The Giants running some garbage time with Jackson Dart to get some more points on the board to make this one not look so bad. He's been off to a better start than I really expected. I'll give him credit for that. But Kyle Shanahan continues to be drawing up masterclass passing performances for Mac Jones. I mean, you look at his like box score, you'll see like great EPA per play, great total EPA, good completion percentage over
Man,
or
he
like
had that one. He was
but his
cooking,
A
and
dot is like 4 yards.
he he was like
It's
cooking,
true.
and then he got leveled and had like a bad pick. Like he just
Mhm.
got popped.
He's been getting beat around a lot. Like it's honestly, it's probably good for him that Brock Purdy's probably going to be back this week.
Yeah, that's the drawback to their offense. It's like if he has like 5 seconds to throw, like it's going to be a sick completion. But if he
Yeah,
doesn't get that, like he's going to get leveled.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Shanahan can only take him so far. And listen, he's done a great job to this point with him. I mean, really, Mac Jones, like with like 40 handoffs a game, the way the passing game looks like, honestly, it's just
Do you feel like
such easy
every week
completions.
a Niners player sacrificed so Christian McCaffrey could keep playing?
I mean, Sure, I guess. I don't know. It's like he's having a great year, really.
What do you think about that conspiracy theory that because the Niners play and
Oh yeah.
practice near a power station that
Maybe, man. Maybe. I
I have
wouldn't
no
I wouldn't
idea why
doubt it.
that's like a thing. It's like
I wouldn't be shocked if something came out after the fact, but we will be seeing. One of the other big Goliaths fell. The Indianapolis Colts lost their first game in a while to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, 27-20, but that was kind of a I don't wanna say it wasn't a demolition, but, like, the Colts Daniel Jones looked like Giants Daniel Jones out there.
yeah, 5 turnovers.
Yeah, like, getting just strip sacked a lot, not feeling that pressure, that's exactly what he would be doing for the Giants on a weekly basis. It would be dropping back, looking, and not feeling any amounts of pressure coming off the edge for him, and he gets the ball ripped out of his hand pretty consistently, and it happened a lot. I would not be very we've been talking about for weeks, when's Daniel Jones gonna turn back into a pumpkin? When's Daniel Jones gonna be done? Like, when with all this chatter, and as soon as we were both like, we're still gonna be on the lookout for it, but maybe this is just kind of what he is now. As soon as we gave that inch, Daniel Jones put out this stinker, and I think Shane Steichen got pass happy. I know they got down early, but Jonathan Taylor has been so successful for you that the fact that he was the leading rusher in the game with only 45 rushing yards, I just think they could have leaned a little bit more on that to kind of limit some of the Steeler possessions. It definitely would have helped limit some of the turnovers, and I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
kept
you
this
gave
game a
the
little lower
Steelers five
scoring.
free possessions. Their offense isn't that
Right.
good, but I'm sorry. If you give your opponent 5 extra possessions,
Yeah, you're not in a
you're
good
not going to
spot,
win.
and yeah, and not Taylor just not nearly involved enough. Um, making that trade for Sauce, like you said, I'm sure you said, I'm sure you brought up the point of
I
that's
wanted to
a
save
trade
it
a
for
team
this game.
makes. Yeah, that's a trade a team makes that feels really good about their quarterback. You don't trade 2 first-round picks if you're so-so on your quarterback. So, talk about one of the biggest votes of confidence you could get. They trade 2 first-round picks for a corner and a huge vote of confidence from Steichen and the front office and ownership to be like, "Listen, we love what Daniel Jones has been doing for us this year, and we think he can do it again next year and the year
Well, I
after,
think
and we
also
believe in
too,
that."
you look at what Sam Darnold's been doing with the Seahawks. Like he's
I
had
mean, it
bad
just doesn't
coaching.
look like Darnold, though. It's not
No,
as
you're right.
good.
No, I of course, but like I think the point. My point is like don't just abandon him if he has a little rough patch. I guess is what. Now, if he turns in 3 more games like this,
Then it's like you're cooked and you
then
really don't
like
have
I don't
another
know,
option.
like how long does Anthony Richardson have until he comes back from his orbital
I mean, I don't know if
injury?
that's the answer. It's gonna be, I think, here on out, Shane Steichen should know, we really need to make sure that Jonathan Taylor's getting, like, 25 touches a game and, drawing up as easy a pass plays as we can for, like, Tyler Warren and stuff. And listen, I gotta give the Steelers credit. Their pass defense is the worst in the league, but it definitely had its best game of the season in terms of Jones had a lot of yards, but he threw the ball a ton, where they a lot of big plays down the stretch, they would have Ramsey go over on Tyler Warren, and that's probably where he's best suited at this point in his career. At his size and losing some of that quickness is on a good receiving tight end can really help neutralize him, and he did that to Warren a lot. A lot of plays he came up and popped him in the flat that was very impressive. So,
Yeah,
credit the
Jalen
Steelers,
Ramsey
but
beginning his second career as a safety kind of reminds me of like Rod Woodson and like Aeneas Williams, guys from the Hall of Fame who were
let
Hall of
me
Fame
point out
caliber
too,
corners
like,
who now moved to
yeah,
safety, and now they're elite at safety too. Like
Charles Woodson.
Charles
Yeah, no,
Woodson
like,
as well.
yeah, yeah, like this was the first game in a while that it felt like Mike Tomlin actually made adjustments, moving Jalen
Yes.
Ramsey around, changing the way they were playing, and it worked a lot. Um, put a lot of pressure on Jones, and they upset a really good team. We all thought. This next game, though, I did not lose my wager on Bo Nix because he did not play well at all. They just happened to win the game, and it was only because CJ Stroud got bountied from Sean
You
Payton.
got bounty.
He did, man. That was a dirty ass hit. I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. The only way that defender was diving in that way, he was behind and to the side of Stroud. Him diving like that, you're not tackling anybody from the back or the side doing that. That is diving, anticipating him to slide or dive and going for the upper body of some sort. And yes, he didn't hit him in the head, but he hit a defenseless player directly in the chest, causing his head to bounce off the turf. And like that was a legitimately dirty hit. I cannot deny it.
We
And
look at the Tua concussions. It's from the whiplash.
it's from getting slammed on the ground. Yes, exactly. And that was that was ugly, man. And it really won the Broncos the game. I mean, Bo Nix did not play well at all. They struggled running the football. The Texans have the best defense in the league. They just couldn't move the ball enough with Davis Mills. And, they hit a quick hitter on a run and, it helps or sorry, that was the Panthers. But they were able to move the ball in field goal range off of, you know, just unfortunateness from the Texans. It's a real tough loss for
You
them
think it's?
because if
I
Stroud
find
was
it.
healthy, they could make the
I
playoffs.
find it. Isn't it ironic that CJ Stroud plays behind like the worst O line in football? We all talk about the beating he takes and how it's going to cause him to get injured, and he
Mhm.
gets injured scrambling, does everything you're supposed to do, to protect yourself, and and that's how he gets hurt.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, it really is, just just not a good injury, that really kinda derails their season if he's out for multiple weeks. I don't know, I don't even know, he might be playing this week, but I just think that that's a tough injury to come back from with an offense that's already
The
struggling.
Texans are this year's like they're the bad good team. Like they're bad, but their team's good. It's really like, and honestly though too, I think D'Amico Ryan's just needs to stay away from the offense. Like,
Sure.
like 100% just stay away because like they're the only team in football to not score a touchdown 2 yards out.
That's not good. That's not good at all, man.
And like, I'm sorry,
It's a coaching philosophy, the way they don't wanna risk the ball down there, but then they don't score, and it's like,
they
dude,
don't give the ball to Woody Marks at all. That's their guy.
yeah, it's just I don't know.
Well, like I don't know, man.
They
Like
don't play Jalen Noel.
the average fan who is like completely brain dead, they complain about the tush push, and yet, like, if you're a Texans fan, you can't score from 2 yards out. Like Michael, we'll talk about a team that's abusing it and no one's calling them out for it. But like, come on, man, it's 2025. Like, get with it. Wow. So I think I've been doing. Did I say the Raiders in this game when we did the picks? I think I said the Jags.
Um, I don't remember. You want me to look? Uh, let me let me get the picks up. You said the Raiders. You did say the Raiders. Shout out John. This was an awesome game. This was one of the better games of the week as well. The Jags winning 30-29 in overtime against the Raiders. It
The
was
Raiders went for the win and they didn't get it, but I kudos to them
I gotta
for.
give him credit. No, they played well. I mean, Geno Smith had his best game of the year. Shocker, Brock Bowers, really good player, helps a lot. It was one of the worst Jags games of the year. Trevor Lawrence was being very stumbly bumbly as usual, very inconsistent. But they were able to do enough offensively, barely, to get their win. Man, they were aggressive down the stretch, and it paid off. In a team very similar to like the Bears, kinda different version, but similar vibes of just needing to kind of stack their wins any way they can get them if they want to make the
Yes.
playoffs. They're definitely not a Super Bowl contender by any stretch of the imagination, but they can be frisky and have a chance to win a playoff game even if they make it by just being like just annoying to deal with because both those teams continue to play largely annoying games on a weekly basis. But good process, not even a process loss. The Raiders aren't trying to tank. It's just a tough loss that they played well in. So good for Gino for looking good. And shout out Brock Bowers. Not much to talk about with this next game. The New Orleans Saints made the switch. Tyler Shuck was in there. Did not really do anything. The Rams dominated. They look very, very good. One of the top teams in the NFC for sure. Puka was back from injury, although he did get banged up again, but they think he's fine. He made a huge impact. Kyron Williams is really strong on the ground. Matthew Stafford continues to build out a pretty solid MVP case. He's been awesome. Really, really pooping on all those narratives that his back was really jacked up that I definitely believe thought there was no chance he'd be fine. And he looks more than fine. He looks very much normal. I think early in that Eagles game, he did get banged up, but even before that, he looked a little off. But since then, he's looked very much on, throwing a lot of touchdowns, dropping balls into buckets. He looks very good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. I feel like every time we see Stafford have like a really good game, it's always like he's underappreciated, like this, that, and the other. I don't think he's the MVP of the NFL, even though he is playing. He should be a candidate for it. Like it does feel like because the MVP is so wide open this year that
Yeah, that's why he's in there, I think.
I don't really rate the Rams as like I thought. I overrated the Rams to an extent at the start of the season, and honestly, Michael, like
You're
this,
not moved by the Rams at all?
not really.
Really?
I mean, the
That's
Saints
interesting.
team. I mean, the Saints team on the road is like the worst team in football by a.
Yeah, but I mean, what are they supposed to do? They've been taking care of business against bad teams. Their only two losses coming to us and the Niners, a division game where the Niners are definitely better than we were kind of giving them credit for. Listen, they only put up 14 points against the Texans week one, which is the best defense in the league. But besides that, they scored a lot of points against the Titans. They scored a lot of points against us. They beat the Colts and still put up a good amount of points. Tough loss to the Niners. They beat the Ravens in a pretty ugly game. Puka goes down in that game. And then they blow out the Jags, who, again, we thought were a good defense going into that London game. And, you know, kind of got broken by Matt Stafford a little bit. I think they're very good. I think this is a big game for them against the Niners coming up, but I definitely think they're a legit contender with a legit MVP candidate at this point.
All right, next game, the annual tradition. The Bills beat the
Yeah.
Chiefs in the regular season. They're probably gonna lose to them in the playoffs.
If the Chiefs make the playoffs, no, seriously though. Josh Allen put together what I thought was his best game of the year. He looked awesome, getting the tight ends involved, and also shocker, James Cook gets involved. Things go well for Buffalo. They were moving the ball kind of however they wanted on that Chiefs D. Did a nice job to stymie that pass rush and really kind of had Mahomes in hell for a little bit. It was the first game of his career that he completed under 50% of his passes, which feels insane at year 8, but or year 9,
Well, this is the point.
whatever it is.
We talk about stacking wins. We're like, okay, you got to stack wins. You got to stack wins. Well, this is why you stack wins. Is that you lose this game and you're the Chiefs. You're now down to 5-4. Now you've fed this feeling you just can't afford to screw up anymore if you want to win your division now. You know,
Yeah, no, the division's on uphill battle at this point with the Broncos winning all these BS games. But Kansas City, the Chiefs, they got kind of handled for the most part. Mahomes was not having a lot of luck, and I mean, if Joey Bosa is going to be that good, the Bills are very, very scary. While their defense has its issues and has its struggles, if they are able to rush the passer that effectively on a weekly basis, they will
Well,
be
the
able to be a
Chiefs'
legitimate
offensive line,
contender.
especially their tackle play, is abysmal.
It is, but like I didn't I don't know, Joey Bosa has not had that much juice all season. And maybe he just
Well,
got
I
up
didn't
for the
think Joey
Chiefs game,
Bosa had
but
juice in that game, Michael.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so that was a
Can I
very,
can I
very
can I
big
just make
win
a
for
point
Buffalo.
though for both of these teams?
Sure.
We talk about the NFL trade deadline now. For the Bills, should they have traded two firsts for Sauce Gardner? Like honestly, no, because like their cap situation's horrifically mishandled. They probably
Right.
couldn't afford to do it, especially since
Yeah,
Sauce signed a brand new contract. Like they can't restructure it, because it's still not even a year old yet.
sure.
But man, the Chiefs haggling the Jets over Brees Hall, when you saw in this game where basically the Chiefs' biggest weakness, I think, is their inability to have a consistent ground game. And like Pacheco's cooked, Kareem Hunt is who he is, and Brashard Smith's just like a backup running back. Like it really, Mahomes really does have to do everything. And listen, Rashid Rice is back. Like that's great for their offense. Same thing with Worthy, but the Bills just pinned their ears back, and they were just ready to rush them every single play. They were not scared at all of getting burned in the ground game, which is scary, Michael, because their rushing defense is bad. But they had no
No
worries.
fear. You're right. And
Right.
especially because, like, Kareem Hunt was not, like, very inefficient on the ground or anything like that. Like, he had 11 carries for 49 yards, that's a pretty solidly efficient day. It's just the Bills' offense was really cooking at a level, and the Chiefs felt like they had to throw every time, and it's been like that, like you
Oh,
said, for a
shocker!
couple
Andy
years now.
Reid abandoning the run to throw the ball more.
I mean, sure, but it's like
Wow,
you point
wow.
out, they don't
Where
have
have
a good
I
running
heard this
back.
before?
I mean, they don't have a good running back. I don't know if Kareem Hunt can last through 20 carries in a game anymore.
Exactly. And to me, their fans are really mad at their GM, which I think is funny
Yeah,
because you
because they've
don't.
been cheap. They've been cheap for the most part. I mean, and you're right when you bring up the fact that how are you haggling for Brees Hall? Like they traded a third round pick for Kadarius Toney, who like looked good for 3 weeks in New York, and were not willing to part a third rounder for Brees Hall that would
Well, you remember
absolutely
when the
be a game
Eagles just
changer
would
for this
not
offense.
value the running back position at all? That was an Andy Reid philosophy.
That's not true. I mean, they had Brian Westbrook and LaShawn McCoy.
But
Invested second
they
round
would
picks into
never.
him.
Yeah, but I don't think Andy Reid gave LaShawn McCoy that extension. I think it wasn't a Chip Kelly.
I mean, he was drafted though by him in the second round. Like my point is that it's like they'll invest into it, and if it's good, be fine to stick with it. The Eagles not like throughout the Andy Reid era didn't really need to go out and buy a running back because they drafted Westbrook and McCoy like pretty much in succession. Like it
Well, they
was
think they thought Pacheco was going to be a top 10 running back.
right,
Like,
right. And he got hurt and lost the step a bit and just not nearly as explosive as he once was. But I mean, here was an opportunity where I guess if you're the GM, maybe you're not as desperate to make another run because you've been to 3 straight Super Bowls and you won 2 of them. I guess that can make sense, but I don't know, it just feels like the whole league is so wide open at this point, and you've shown that you can be a high-powered passing attack. To just add another wrinkle to that offense through a very skilled running back in Brees Hall, you know how these teams play against you come playoff time. The only way you're gonna lose is if you really become so one-dimensional that your offensive line finally isn't good enough to kinda clean that up. It'll sink you, and it just feels like they did not do nearly everything they could to put themselves in a better position to compete again. Um, yeah.
yeah, I because you know what though too, you think about it like I think they just didn't want to trade for Brees Hall, Michael, because he's a free agent next year, and they probably thought, oh, we could use that third round pick to draft a running back, and we'll have 4 years of control.
Right.
Versus like, oh, we'll trade the third, and if he's good, we'll re-sign him. Like the Chiefs cap situation is like shambolic right now. So like that's probably why they were haggling so much on Brees. Where if you think about it, like the Niners gave up a lot of picks to get Christian McCaffrey, and I think it was worth it, right? I don't
I
think
mean,
it was.
absolutely. And granted, Brees Hall is no Christian McCaffrey, but
Well, Christian McCaffrey wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire for a couple years with the Panthers battling injuries and playing behind a bad
I mean,
offensive
he was just hurt. I don't think the numbers
and
were
playing in an
bad.
ineffective offense. I mean,
I guess. I mean,
I think Brees Hall would really make that Chiefs offense scary. I think
yeah, I
I
agree.
think it.
That
I'm
could
not saying it would have been like a Saquon Barkley on the Eagles impact, but it would have been a major impact for you. Look at how bad the running back room is. Like now, teams can't just sell out to stop the pass on the Chiefs. Now you have to somewhat respect the run. And when you look at like Matt Nagy, when he was his first stint with the Chiefs, you know, big thing for him is his ability to like run the ball. You saw it the
yeah,
last couple of
and
years.
you just have no threat with the explosive running game at all with
Like
those 2
their
running
leading
backs.
rusher, I think, is still Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they just have no threat to break off a big run. There's no top end speed that's actually threatening from Pacheco or Kareem Hunt at this point. So, yeah, not great at all there and probably a little weak. But let's move to Sunday night where some other organizational malpractices occurred.
Oh, that's one way to put it.
The Seattle Seahawks were putting utter belt to ass to Washington in the first half
Sam
and throughout the
Darnold might have
entire
played the
game.
best first half of football I've seen from a quarterback since like Michael Vick in uh, the Monday Night Massacre against the Washington football team franchise.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah, no, sure. It was destructive. Sam Darnold was absolutely cooking, didn't throw any completion, was it was lethal, and Washington kept turning the ball over, and it was, JSN is just an absolute freak. Sam Darnold looks very, very good, and they're able to throw the ball kinda however they want, and what's really interesting about the Seahawks is there was that chart going around on how teams play defense against 11 versus 12 or more, like 12 or higher personnel, 2 or 3 tight ends on the field versus 1, and most teams against 12 personnel run their base defense at a solidly higher percentage than they do with 11 personnel. Teams are very much afraid of the run when they have multiple tight ends on the field. The Seahawks, however, do not buy into that. They do not play a substantially higher percentage of base defense when teams are in 12 personnel, and it's working because teams all over the league are trying to throw more out of heavier packages. We're seeing that everywhere. A lot of play action, everyone's leaning on it if they have a struggling passing game or a struggling quarterback, and the Seahawks are one of the best at it, where they're just drawing up situations to open up voids for an elite receiver to easily beat any coverage in JSN, and it's working a lot. And when other teams are trying to kind of replicate that, the Seahawks aren't giving them that personnel advantage by putting more heavy guys on the field for when they're trying to throw, even if it looks like they're going to run. So, shout out Seattle. Shout out Mike McDonald's playing awesome. That Seahawks defense is cooking absolutely. And then Darnold looks awesome. But enough about the Seahawks. Obviously, Shaheed is going to help out even further. But the biggest storyline to come out of this game is Jaden Daniels still being in the game, driving the field down 38 to 7, early to midway through the fourth quarter. Game is completely over. He's been taking hits all night. He's been taking hits all season. We talked about this a lot. He takes a lot of hits. We talked about this last year. Um, you know, he is not smart with how he absorbs contact and avoids it and takes it. You look at a guy with a similar body type at quarterback, and you just think of Lamar Jackson, and you watch him play. Lamar never gets hit hard. He never gets cracked. He never gets rolled
It's
up on weird.
see, like I was just about to say that where I watch Jane Daniels play, like Lamar feels so like springy. I don't know how to describe it. It's like he's almost like made of rubber, where if he gets hit, he doesn't fully absorb the hit.
Yeah,
Where
he takes it nicely and then lays his body down to avoid it. As soon as Lamar's grabbed up, he's going down because he's not gonna keep fighting and
he's
keeping his
also
body.
just so elusive, it's hard to like really
It's hard
square
to
up.
get a hand on him. He can run
Where
out of
the
bounds all
problem
the
with
time.
Jaden Daniels, Michael, is he plays. There's two guys who he reminds me of the way he plays when he's just scrambling, getting out of the pocket, trying to make plays. The two guys he reminds me of with his mentality, it's Cam Newton and Josh Allen. Josh Allen and Cam Newton are 3 inches taller than him and weigh 40 to 50 more pounds than he does. That
Yeah.
is why he's constantly getting hurt. We said this last year. And then I thought near like when he came back from the broken ribs, I think that forced him to not scramble as much and kind of just trust his eyes and make quick reads. And he was making great reads. Now this year, I think because of the Terry McLaurin like injury slash holdout, Debo Samuel being limited in running the route tree, he's now more of like a gimmick player. He's basically like a better version of Curtis Samuel is on the Bills right now.
Yeah. He's had a nice year, Debo, I'd say.
And I'm not saying he's bad. It's like but he's like limited in the sense where
It's not as the receiver room felt better last year. And even though it wasn't amazing, it just was things were just working in the passing game. And
but
they're not
the big malpractice was he suffered. Thank God it was his non-throwing arm because his career would have ended if that was the dislocated
essentially, yeah.
elbow. His career's over. It was one of those like really like disgusting injuries to see. And I think I texted you. I said I was like, I need Jane Daniels to throw a touchdown, and then like 5 minutes later, he's scrambling, and that injury happened. I was like,
He just should not have been in the game. It was my dad was saying it, everyone was saying it, "Man, why is he still in the game?" Feels like one of the games you take him out at the start of the 4th quarter, it was that ugly. Truly, it was 38-7 and or 31-7, whatever, and then they made it 38-7. Like, it
just
was
because
just
it's because the Commanders, Michael, Dan Quinn's, I think, partially delusional, where he's thinking like they're still a playoff team, where they're literally living off of last year, and they're just a very poorly constructed football team.
yeah, I mean, not to totally pat myself on the back or pat us on the back, whatever, but we talked about this, man. We talked about around the draft. We talked about this, all off season after we eliminated them, all this stuff that we knew they were a regression candidate. We knew they were likely due for regression, but we pointed out that the future outlook of them was just not very bright, that it looks pretty bleak, that Jaden Daniels, although he's an older rookie, still young, is the only really young talent you have on the entire roster. Even before they've traded Brian Robinson Jr., the running back room was already looking lackluster. You trade him away, it's okay. Bill Krosky Merritt's fine. Chris Rodriguez is okay. And, you know, it's a decent-ish running back room. It's really nothing special. They do run the ball effectively, you gotta give them that credit, but it's not like the weaponry and the offensive line at all built around him is built for his long term. Like we talk about when he's off his rookie deal, what the hell are the Commanders gonna look like? Are any of the starters that are there now gonna be there by the time he's getting his second contract? I don't know if that's true. We know Ertz is gonna be retired. We know Terry's gonna be in his, like, kinda mid-30s. We know Debo's already turning 30 now, only on a one-year deal. So what's it gonna look like? They traded
I think
8
people are
draft
actually. I
picks.
think people are starting to figure out that Kyle Shanahan is the reason the Niners are successful, not John Lynch and his bad GMing. Because Adam Peters, their GM of the Commanders, learned how to be a GM from John Lynch. He came from that organization.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and
And I
they
mean,
traded 8 draft picks
and
for
finally, Michael,
Laramie Tunsil, Debo
finally,
Samuel, and,
well, no, Michael,
Lattimore.
this started a year before. So, like, their fans are like livid. Like, I see this on Twitter. Is their fans are like Adam Peters is bad. Like, and they're like their fans who are talking about how they're going to be way better than the Eagles falsely, false. It's just the rivalry nature of it, right? Now it's like there's not. This is the first time I've said this for a while. Now they're saying, why did we trade Cooper DeJean away?
Oh, listen, man,
Like
there
Mike
it just
Stanistrell is like bad. Like he's
yeah,
just
no, this is multiple years in the making of not building out a good young roster, and the defense is an atrocious unit. Absolutely, their big free agent signing being Javon Kinlaw, when there were guys like Josh Sweat and Milton Williams available. Um, you know, they could have picked up the phone to try to make a trade for a big edge rusher, and they just did none of that. And they like combined that with their old weapons that aren't that
they probably
amazing
didn't want to give
anyways.
out.
Like,
They probably didn't want to give out big guaranteed money because like Josh Harris wants to build a new stadium, and we know how bad of an owner he is with the Sixers. Like the Sixers repeatedly being under the luxury tax and selling second round picks to not have to pay extra money.
no, sure, and, like,
Like that's
they
probably what the Commanders are doing too, dude.
yeah, no, for sure, and just building out, like, a short roster like you had to win the Super Bowl this year, and it blowing up in your face because you put together the oldest roster in the NFL's in, like, 12 years. Shocker that you're injured all the time, all this sort of stuff, like, they were just due for not a great season, and they're getting, like, the worst end of it, you know? They were so good on prime time last year, they were so good on 4th down, they were so good on all these sort of things, one-score games, and all of that's blowing back into their face, and it's all just
I think
capped
the
off
Eagles
with
just annihilating them in the NFC Championship game mentally broke them.
I mean, I don't even know if it's that, I think just their long playoff run gave them false hope that it would be easy. I think they just felt that Jaden Daniels and, like, Terry McLaurin and a solid number 2 receiver is enough to kinda carry you offensively, and that's having that good enough of an offense is good enough to carry you to playoff contention every year and Super Bowl contention even, and that was just completely wrong. They tried to supplement that instead of actually building out with a serious plan, and leaving in Jaden Daniels to get his elbow dislocated and potentially more, whatever, it derails this entire season, and when your entire plan was kind of built for this season and the next season, it just makes the outlook of that
It
team look
does
so,
feel like
so bleak.
now you're a Commanders fan though. I think big picture, like they're going to have a lot of cap space, like to go out, but they're going to have to be willing to spend the money in free agency. Like the last 2 years, they just don't give out long term guarantee contracts. Like
Mhm.
Like you said, the Javon Kinlaw signing in terms of like money, committed money, was the largest they've given out under the Adam Peters like regime. You know,
Yeah, it's just dumb, absolutely, but alas, just n not looking good over there, and then Dallas, Arizona on Monday. It's Cowboys defense, we talked about it, is atrocious, it's so bad, we've already harped on that at length, the Cardinals, they're not, like, great, but Brissett looked good against the bad defense, it's simple as that, I mean, you know, it was the first week in a bit besides the, I guess
well, dude, I saw this weird stat. The Cardinals, like their last 16 Monday Night Football games, have won only four of them. All four are against the Dallas Cowboys.
yeah, I did see that stat as well. Really, really crazy stuff, yeah, it's just nuts, I gotta be honest, like, Cowboys are we knew they weren't gonna be great. I think they were impressing us a little bit early in the season with the running game especially, but their defense was about as bad as advertised, and, if Dak and the offensive line can't hold up in the passing game, they are never going to win. It's simply put, they will never win a game that Dak doesn't play super well in, and Monday was another example of him not playing too great. So
I,
yeah, that's what
I
you get.
so I have so I kind of so there's kind of like some of my other takes about the Cowboys. Um, their offensive line is not good, even with guys being healthy. Like, I'm sorry, like Tyler Guyton is not a good player. He got dominated by Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat does play very
MVP of
well.
the game right there, Josh Sweat. He really took over.
Yes, he looked. That was the best he's looked since the Super Bowl. In all honesty, like he's been good for the Cardinals this year, but like that was like wow.
Mhm.
Um, for some reason, the Cowboys just don't. The last two games just haven't figured out like now that CD Lamb is back, how to like get George Pickens involved still. Because when CD
Mhm.
Lamb was out, George Pickens looked like a top five wide receiver in football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know
He's
how
been
you
very I
pick
mean, top 5 is maybe a little high, but he's looked very good this year.
right, and like they just haven't figured it out. It's sort of like it's almost like we got to focus on Javonte Williams running the ball, and then like their passing scheme. It's like you see how miserable CD Lamb looks out there. Like every get time they're losing, people are freaking out over AJ Brown tweets in the city. If AJ Brown was acting like CD Lamb is acting in Dallas, like WIP would be having a full blown like meltdown. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, like it's not good. It's
No, it's
almost
it's ugly, man. The
it
vibes are
is
bad.
ugly. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like I don't think Brian Schottenheimer is cut out to be a head coach.
I think the vibes come from higher up than Schottenheimer, to be honest with you. I don't think any head coach is saving this.
I
It's
agree.
come
I
it
mean,
comes from
I
Jerry.
agree. And Michael, realistically too, like honestly, like no one's really talked about this enough. Matt Eberflus is the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He used to be a good D coordinator, and I think now that he embarrassed himself in Chicago, like that just
I mean, that
whatever
roster is atrocious. We
whatever
can't deny it.
goodwill he ever built up in the NFL was ruined by how bad things went in Chicago.
Right. Yeah, no, it's ugly. Um, you wanna pick Thursday? Let's pick Thursday.
Yeah, I think I know where you're gonna go with Thursday because
I don't know.
you're a little Bo Nix hater is what you are. But
No, I mean, listen, he's horrible, and you know it. The Broncos are hosting the Raiders. The Broncos just can't find a way to lose, to be honest with you, and the Raiders are coming off a great game. Brock Bowers clearly makes a huge difference for that team, but unfortunately for the Raiders, they happen to also be running into one of the better defenses in the NFL here. The Denver Broncos, their defense should be able to do enough to cause some grief to the Raiders. The Raiders' offensive line is so bad. They really just cannot get Ashton Genty going, who clearly has a lot of talent. There's clips every week of him turning nothing runs into something special, but the team is just so bad. It really is Saquon on the Giants all over again. Um, I have to take, I think Denver, they're 9.5 point favorites. I have to take Denver to win by 10. I know it's a division opponent. I know it's
so
risky on a Thursday, but I
well,
just can't
can
do
I
it.
let me throw something out to you. The Chiefs off their mini bye in the NFL schedule makers really favor Denver. I
Yeah,
think they're gonna play Kansas City off their mini bye.
yeah,
It's a division. This is like one of the preeminent rivalries in the NFL.
yeah.
Denver, sorry, Broncos, Raiders, right? Is there any shot the Broncos overlooking their longtime division rival on a Thursday? I mean, could this be like Giants Eagles Thursday night?
I mean, I guess I
I'm
just
taking the Raiders. I'm taking the
okay.
Raiders for a couple reasons. One, the Broncos have just been toying with fate, we'll say, the last several weeks, sans the Cowboys game, right? Would you agree?
Hmm.
And they're at home this game. Then they got to play Kansas City. I feel like this line is way too low for what it should
Well,
be.
I mean, 9.5 is too low.
So that
I
this
don't.
is like this is 7.5 in Vegas.
I
I,
mean,
I
like
mean,
I think Vegas has an accurate
like honestly,
understanding of how good the Broncos
I'm
are.
imagining Alex Singleton chasing Brock Bowers around, like just not like just getting burned every single play.
That is true. They do run a lot of man coverage, and
I'm
Bowers should
imagining
be
like
able to
Bo
get
Nix
open.
finally having a bad enough game where he's gonna get punished for a lot of his missed throws.
I just unfortunately don't know if I can see it. The Raiders D is so bad.
Because
It's
here's
so
the thing:
bad.
the Broncos are built. They have built their team to stop Kansas City.
I mean, sure, I guess. I mean,
You
they
mean
just
sure?
built
I
their. I
guess.
mean, I just think they built their team to just try to be good, and like
No, they kind of built it like this.
they have a really good everything except a quarterback. Great running game, great offensive line, pretty good receivers, great defense, well coached. Their quarterback just kind of sucks, but it's enough most weeks.
Pete Carroll has gotten the better of Sean Payton.
What, 10 years ago?
Like when they face each other.
Yeah, that's we're looking a pretty long time ago. Listen, I don't think it's impossible just because Denver's been so capable. Listen, they played the Jets and Giants pretty tight. So if they can play those two teams tight, well, I guess why not the Raiders? Listen, if the Broncos defense kind of tries to just throw their helmets on the field and assume that they're going to be fine, and maybe kind of get cooked in the first half and then have to turn it on in the second half, I could see this being like
I
like
think
a
no Pat Surtain. I
28-21
think no
Broncos
Patrick
win.
Surtain really hurts Denver. You didn't see it much against the Texans because of them bountying CJ Stroud,
Right.
where like they couldn't just get Nico going because one, it was his first game back, and two, Davis Mills is playing
Yeah.
quarterback. I
Right.
mean, I think Gino looked his best last week against
Yeah.
the Jags. I think they're starting to kind of figure things out offensively a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I think no Jacoby Myers might be good for that like that receiver room from this perspective that he just didn't want to be there, and like the bad vibes aren't there really there anymore.
Hmm.
Potentially, I'm taking the Raiders. I feel like this could be like another Eagles Giants game where
Listen, I don't hate it.
where the inferior team is like in a better spot where the superior team is banged up. They're kind of due for a loss. Like due to get smacked around, I would say is a better term. You know,
Yeah.
when they have tougher games now on the horizon. So I'm going to take the Raiders with the points. Can the
All
Raiders
right.
can the Raiders find a way to blow this game and the Broncos get another cheese bag win, and then they get smoked by Kansas City next week? I mean, maybe I don't know, but
Yeah, no, it's
I don't
all
know.
a
I really
possibility.
like the Raiders tomorrow.
All right. All right. Something to look for. Something to look for. Well, that is our show, everybody. Rip through week 9, intense week 10. Eagles back Monday night. We'll talk about that this weekend. It's a big week. It will be a big week in the football world. So appreciate everyone tuning in.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning. Enjoy the rest of your day or night, I should say.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod. Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.